I love the Beano, but do you know what it's missing? Do you know what it really needs? If you said a low budget racing game, well then that would be a ding, if you guess what I'm donging, huh? Beanotown Racing is a racing game developed by Simian Industries for Zoo Digital Publishing and released all the way back in 2003, a hell of a year. Finally, British and Irish kids could throw away their Mario Karts, their Crash Team Racing and Crazy Frog Racers, replacing them with a true alternative. Unfortunately, we didn't know that this was actually an alternative for fun. I won't lie though, 13-year-old old Ashley wouldn't have cared. Slap some Beano on any slop and I would eat that shiz up! Yummers! I never actually got to play this game as a children, but I'm sure it will be just as fun to a 33-year-old old Ashley as it would have been to a 13-year-old old Ashley. Just to make sure though, I would hate to waste time and money. Let's look up a review to make sure we are getting a quality product here. Here is a well thought out and balanced review, all the way from the UK back in 2004, if you could imagine such a time. It's 5 stars, so this person really loves the game, despite never having even played it yet. Apparently he's going on the word of his good mate, Dennis the Menace, who also happens to be tearing up his Dandy comics. This seems legit, but I should look at another to be extra safe before I invest. According to this other review I found on GameSpot, this game is plain awesome. So let's read to find out why though. Why is it just so awesome? It's cause the Beano comic strip is the funniest buttload of stuff I have ever seen. I remember playing this game and it was awesome. It's not as good as Gran Turismo 4, but GT4 isn't supposed to be funny and have all this comic gold and hilarity. If you can find this game, I recommend it, but it's very rare in all its rarity. Well, fucking sold. He says more, but I have heard enough. Shut up and take my money. You can also tell this person is unbiased because he does admit Gran Turismo 4 is better. I'll be the judge of that. This review is also from 2006, so the game was around for 3 years already, so it's not like he is caught up in some hype bias. Well, here she is, Beanotown Racing. I finally hold this in my cold, frail Irish hands. I'm fairly excited, but before we play, let's get a little backstory on this bad girl. The developer, Simian Industries, was a Scottish video game development company formed in July 2001. It was known for its involvement in the gaming industry during the early 2000s, although the company's lifespan and the extent of its projects are not widely documented. It is recognized as part of the Scottish gaming scene, which includes other notable companies like Rockstar North. Hear that? Rockstar, baby! We're in the big leagues now. I don't even want to research more about it. It is definitely still around and making other top tier classic stuff. So let's just mosey on over to the game itself. The game features characters not only from our favorite comic, the Beano, but also from our least favorite comic, the Dandy, which is super neat. Players can initially choose from main eventers like Corky the Cat, Dennis the Menace, Roger the Dodger, Minnie the Minx, and even Bee to compete in the Beanotown Championship. 2 additional characters, Calamity James and my man and yours, Beautiful Boy Walter the Softie, and can be unlocked using cheat codes provided in the comics. I know who I'm playing as. 5 more characters, Desperate Dan, Plug from the Bash Street Kids, Nasher, Banana Man, and Brian Dwayne are also unlocked by winning specific races with certain characters. For example, to unlock Desperate Dan, players must win the championship with any of the other kart games roster. Well, let's have a quick peekaboo at a baller issue of the Beano that was used to promote this iconic game. First look at this cover. We see the lineup of racers from the game minus our 2 secret characters, that is. Just a really cool image as we see these Beano and Dandy stars facing off in the race of the century. In terms of criticism, did we really need Bee and Nasher? Just throw Nasher in with Dennis, and if you need Bee, team her up with Ivy the Terrible or that other dandy brat Molly. Hell, let's throw in Dimples and Cuddles. Make it an infant double dash clone. Side note, did you know Cuddles was the cover star of Hoot? Remember Hoot? In all seriousness, I wish we had some other characters. Bold Boy, Tim Traveler on his bike, Little Plum, Biffo. Hell, let's go full nerd and throw in a Big Eggo. He's an ostrich, so we can have him just run around on his legs. Give us some more variety. One more interesting aspect of this cover is we get an artist name credit, as Nigel Parkinson sneaks his name in there, something not very common in these British funny books. Sticking with the cover for a moment, all the cars are interesting and different. Some obviously better than others. Banana Man's car, nothing, don't even worry about it. Oh, I just can't take Banana seriously. That's a me thing, don't worry, that's my issue. Dwayne, of course, has a high-tech car with a built-in laser, which seems very fair. I also really like Nasher, Corky, and our man Dan's wheels. Minnie has a scooter, not great, and B is in a pram. I do hope they do a Battleship Potemkin reference. Remember Battleship Potemkin? Roger, rather fittingly, is driving a Dodge, also known as a bumper car. Plugs might be my favorite though. It looks like something that could be reasonably made, and I think he did a good job. He may be ugly, but he clearly has other talents. The Dennis car is cool, but come on, he had a well-established Menace-mobile. They should have made that one. I certainly hope someone was fired for that blunder. Inside, we get 6 pages of wacky racing goodness, with every racer getting a moment to shine. One by one, each racer is taken out for one reason or another. We even get some cameos from top main eventers like our lad Walter. The best cameo, however, is from our nearsighted friends, Blinky from the Dandy and Herbert, the low-key funniest member of the Bash Street Kids. Roger, of course, is taken out in a massively disappointing way. His dad in the middle of the race just arrives to give him pocket money and it bounces off his force field. Come on guys, there's no need to dodge better writing. Work harder. The finale comes down to, as it should, to Dennis and Dan, with Dennis mugging off the Pie Man really good. Crossing a bridge, Dan's steamroller's car's weight causes him to fall into the river, and just as Dennis is about to cross the finish line, he is caught on the banner. What a wimp. He looks upset and dejected, but he still wins. You still win, Dan. Why would you not win? Your car crossed the line. You got it. Good job, buddy. Over the page, everyone is looking worse for wear, but here comes the uncanny valley. The developers of Simian Industries are here with their sore toe art style to reveal, and I quote, a fantastic racing game for the PC. I am sure no lie is spoken. Dennis and Dan seem very excited, with Dan even remarking that it is cooler than chilled owl juice. Remember Hoot? This picture is used as the game's credit title card whenever you quit out of the game, so some real efficient synergy going on. Good job, team. A fun story to promote the game, so I won't begrudge it too much. It's always really cool to see the Dandy in Beano Land and vice versa. It's also a rather good Beano comic in general, as we get another longer story of Dennis and B in a super nanny situation, as well as Billy the Cat to promote the Beano annual. But enough foreplay, let's get to what you want. It's still in its plastic. I'm excited. All joking aside, I always wanted to play this game, and even though I fully expected it to be real bad, I am optimistic. CD popped in? That's right, my computer has a CD player. Retro, I know. Okay, all installed, let's play this mother! The main menu is cute, an illustration of Beanotown. We get some cameos, along with the Bass Street Cook. We can also see others like Walter's dog Fifi and Bold Boy in the back. We get a cute little baby face Finlayson in a cage, and best of all, we get to see everyone's favorite cake-eating, blue blood Marmaduke, Lord Snooty, Earl of Bunkerton, out on his skateboard, probably trying to fit in with the proletarians. How do you do, fellow peasants, is what he says. The menus are serviceable, not great. Kinda remind me of the Beano video from 1993's title sequence, which we will cover in the future, so don't you worry your pretty little head about that, we will get to it. First things first, let's get straight to what you want and type in the cheat code Walter to play as everyone's favorite character. We know it works when a secret agent Dennis pops up. Now, when I go to play a single race, I select Dennis and voila! When the game loads, I'm that charming boy Walter. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go! Let's go! Let's Go? Go? Please go. Why isn't it going? It won't go. I'm pressing every possible button and nothing is happening. Let's check the digital manual. The manual has some neat information and most importantly instructions for controls that are not helpful. Okay, maybe my wireless keyboard is the problem. I pulled out my old one and cleaned up the dusty old keyboard to see if it would help, and it certainly did not. So it's not the keyboard. Next, I found some threads saying words and things I didn't understand, but these seem smart, so I downloaded their fix and it didn't work. Not to worry though, I discovered another website with some clearer instructions about how to use the fix. So I did what they told me like a good boy, and hey ho no, still not working. At this stage I'm a little nervous. I built this up. I need to play this game so I can make a very unnecessary video. I decided to look up other people's gameplay and thank God one other person had done a video on it. Big shout out to BioLees, who had the same problem as me and very quickly discovered his Xbox 360 controller works. I stole my flatmate's Xbox One controller and eureka! We have liftoff. Now, if you are a Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing fan, the first thing you will notice is that those games are much better than this one. This isn't unplayable though, it's a low budget game, and that review from earlier did tell us it wasn't as good as Gran Turismo 4, which was very accurate. Something strange I found in this game is that it has no acceleration button, no holding an X or something to start moving, just the arrow keys is all you need. Turning is also very difficult to wrap your head around at first, but I reckon a few plays and I'll get it down. My first race I came third, which is a very difficult word for Irish people to pronounce. Let's jump into the Beanotown Championship. The best way to learn is by doing. In this mode, we race through all 6 courses. Yeah, it's not a very big game, but let's see what they are. Annoyingly, you can't pick how many laps there are in this mode, and I am stuck on 5, but this later turned out to be a blessing in disguise as it gave me time to learn the maps and adjust to the controls. Their first track is Wild in the Country, which is set in a Beanotown country park. Right away, I am not doing too good. There are a lot of collectibles on the tracks and I'm not really sure what they are for. I think they make you go faster, and after collecting a certain amount you cannot get any more. The manual says you store them for a boost, but I was never able to use them, possibly due to my controller. The track itself is probably my least favorite of the game. It's a bit bland and has some confusing segments where I kept turning the wrong way. The game is quite easy though, and even though I kept making mistakes like this, I was always able to catch up again. The dead ends pop up on the other tracks too, and often the shortcuts can be a bit confusing. As you watch me do terribly, let us talk about the weapons. A lot of them are like Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing. We have banana peels for Banana Man, and Roger, as we saw in the comic, has the force field, similar to what you see in CTR. You can't fire it however, and how long it lasts just seemed very inconsistent as I played the game. Other weapons are mostly terrible. The only ones I found useful were Dennis's homing tomato and Dwayne's lightning sometimes. I think in the harder difficulty, when you are stuck closer to the other racers, weapon like Dan's cow pie and its explosive energy and Minnie's P-gun weapon would be a lot more useful. The worst weapon I think is probably Plug's trash can, which sits for a few seconds before it blows up, or B's toxic nappies, which seem to generate more than anything else. Unlike those other much better kart racers, you can actually see the weapon, so it isn't randomized, so that's a bit different. So good job game, mixing it up. If you can believe it, I'm still racing this track. I have gotten better as I went though, so while I only came 6th this time, I think I am better prepared for the next challenge, the Bash Street Burn-Up, which is set in the school. I actually forgot I was playing the game for a moment, but not to worry, when I remembered I was a new man. I inexplicably got used to the controls and turning and starting to become a bit of a powerhouse. This level is actually rather fun. It's cool driving around Bash Street School, going through the corridors, into the gymnasium, out into the school courtyards, and seeing the playground and other soccer pitches. The single race option gives you a hint that taking the ramp makes you go faster. Okay, watch this and you tell me, did it look like I went any faster? A track though, and look, I came first. I'm really making a comeback. Next we are racing on Street Streak, which takes us around Beanotown. A mostly fun track, but occasionally confusing. I kept taking the wrong turn or ended up going down the wrong way. There is this one part before you drive back into town, which looks like you were meant to take a sharp left, and I fell for that more than once. Even the power-up boost in a V-shape made me think that was the correct path. Seeing all the houses designed with those pink bricks just like in the comic was fun, so overall I really enjoyed playing through this one. The stylized terrace housings were very charming, and I did manage to come number 1 again, though I had a close call near the end with my rival B. Now we're moving on to the Dandy Dash, which is a dandy embassy in Beanotown. That was the setting for a short-lived comic strip, Dandy Days in Beanotown, which solely existed to promote this game. No real complaints about this track. I did drive into a dead end once or twice with limos, but that was my only major gripe. A really fun track with a nice variety as you drive in, out and all around the embassy. It was here I noticed I couldn't endlessly collect the speed tokens. If only I had read the damn manual, but honestly, who has time for that? Of course, I once again came first. I am either the greatest player ever or I chose the easy mode. But I guess we'll never know. A big change of scenery as our next track is Haunted Castle, which also happens to have the best music in the game. Castle is actually Bunkerton Castle, home of Lord Snooty Earl of Bunkerton, and later a retirement home for former Beano and Dandy characters. I wonder will we see my main man Even Steven in there somewhere. I really like the look of this track, stands out from all the others just by being set at night. We even get a little light effects and a pretty purple night sky. We are really pushing the computer software here. We drive all around the castle and its grounds, seeing a spooky ghost, a skeleton reading a Beano, and the remains of a teacher who was tied up and most certainly tortured to death in the dungeon. You can tell it's a teacher from his hat. Another fun track with no confusing layout moments for me. I again came first. Yes, I am very good. Finally, we have Wild West Tests, which takes place outside of Beanotown, and time as it is set in Dan's home of Cactusville. And clearly this is a dystopian world that Dan, using his mighty strength, has enslaved. We see giant idols made in his image throughout, including his visage carved into a mountain. Dan wasn't messing about. I like to think these totems are a reference to our little friend Plum, and perhaps one of the houses belongs to the three bears or babyface Finlayson. I am still pushing my theory they are all in the same canon. Anyways, an okay track that differentiated itself in visuals from the others. It is set in a Wild West desert at sundown, where we drive past constructions, little towns, through a cave, past cactuses or cactusi. It really covers everything you would want from this type of level. By this stage, I am an expert player, and while B put up a good effort, I of course was successful and took the Beanotown Championship trophy. We get this cute little victor screen of me in first place standing on the top of the podium as the camera pans all around, showing all the other losers basking in the glory and under the fireworks meant for me. Me baby! This is actually the only place we even get to see a winner's screen, as in single race mode we just get asked if we would like to race again or quit, which a bit lazy but low budget, we'll let it go. Having done so well in the final 3 tracks, I have managed to unlock them, so let's complete the game and get ourselves the rest of the characters. A nice touch in single races is that they give you a little comic loading screen of the track you are about to enter for each one. Something else I didn't mention is the tracks have their own stylized starting lights, with the Bass Street School being like a little sketchy drawing, and the Bunkerton level using candles. The Simeon team weren't phoning it in. On their small budget, I think you can really see the care they put into it. Now, it's not a very deep racer, I really don't see me playing this ever again, but it was clearly aimed at younger kids who would have enjoyed it in 2003. Maybe, if their keyboards work, that is. Anyways, we have already unlocked Dan from winning the Beanotown Cup and Nasher from winning a race as Dennis. For our handsome pal Plug, we need to win the Bash Street burn up again with our little Pedumpkin B. We of course slay Queen, so now we unlock Top Man Banana Man by beating the Street Streak with Nasher. One character to go. We get our big brain Dwayne by beating the Dandy Dash with Minnie. There doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason for the characters you use to unlock others. If I had to reach, maybe you could say Minnie has a statue in Dundee like Dan, so it makes sense for her to unlock a Dandy character, but that would be a real reach. It's just random honestly, except for maybe Dennis and Nasher. That's the only one that makes sense. You know, when I started my Beanotown racing journey and played my first level, I was a little stressed, depressed lemon zest. But now, it's just so easy peasy lemon squeezy. I think what I need is a real challenge. This game has a secret character I mentioned earlier, the unpleasant Calamity James, who really gets a bad go of things. By typing Calamity into the main menu, we unlock him. Even with this unlucky fool, it might be still too easy, so let's crank it up to Pro. I am a Pro now, and I can handle anything. James isn't just a reskin car either, like beautiful boy Walter. He has his own sick wheels. He is trying to battle his bad luck with a horseshoe and a couple 4-leaf clovers. A bold strategy, Cotton. We will see if it pays off. Unfortunately, his unlucky number 13 overpowers his lucky charms. In my favorite Easter egg of the game, the developers designed James to be almost unplayable. Watch me try to control him. My arms haven't fallen off, and I'm not mashing my face on the controller. They intentionally inverted the controls, so left is right and right is left. Up and down remain the same, but that only adds to the confusion. I got through 2 laps of this madness in what felt like a simulation of drink driving. I even started to feel a little nauseous, if I'm being honest with you. Hilarious and unplayable. Try it at your own risk. The game also comes with several cheat codes, along with some basic B cheats like mirroring the track so they feel kinda different. They have things like big character mode, which allegedly helps with turning. Look at me struggle here with Corky. I'm playing pro difficulty, so I'm not doing too bad. The giant size is more of a distraction than anything else though, so any benefit is immediately outweighed. They also have a big car mode, which of course I used on Banana Man. Look how big his banana is. It's flippin' huge. This is out of control. It's so big it covers a lot of the screen, and it becomes more difficult to navigate. You can also use cheats to turn the screen upside down and make the pie weapon huge, but why even bother? The only cheat that really matters is getting to play as our lovely boy, Walter. Love that Walter. And that was Beanotown Racing. It really surprised me. I think it looks really good. Obviously Crash Nitro Kart and Mario Kart Double Dash, which both came out the same year, look much better. But for a PC budget title, I think they did a good job of capturing the characters. And honestly, the crappy factor kind of fits it. The game isn't very hard and you won't have much trouble, but the pro difficulty is a decent challenge. I recommend trying it at least once. I have to admit, begrudgingly, it's not as good as Gran Turismo 4. Boy, I sure said a thing or two about a thing or two. Probably mentioned some jokes about the Beano. You know me, I like to joke about the Beano. And if you like this, please remember to like and subscribe. Go on, you know you want to.